Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Cube. Today we're going to go over how to solve a mirror 3x3. Now, mine has colors, but don't worry, the way how I'm going to teach is going to solve the normal version no matter what. Let's get to it. Now, if I were you, I would recommend starting off with the larger pieces because that's basically your white. So you want to look around for your edges for your larger pieces like this and this, so on and so forth. These pieces here too. Now what you want to do is kind of look for, you just kind of want to mess around with the cube, kind of see what fits. You see how this barely doesn't fit? Now let's say if you move this around, if you align it here, you know that this is the correct fitting, the way how it's perfectly aligned, but it does not align perfectly over here. So what you want to do is kind of want to move this around. You either want to move it either up, that doesn't work. You want to try this side, that still doesn't work. You want to try this side, and it matches perfectly. It's the same thing with the rest of the edges. You just kind of want to mess around. You want to kind of find another big piece like this, just kind of try it. That does not fit, so you want to try again. Maybe this part right here, that fits perfectly, and based off of how this one was, you don't really need to try the rest of the edges. You can just flip this down because you already have that one part that's already correct. And then as you continue on looking for the rest of the edges, like this piece, you can kind of already figure out what's going to happen. Now, you always got to be careful with this last piece right here because it may look like one of these other pieces. It's just a little bit longer than the rest of these pieces, so you just got to be a little bit careful. Once you have your cross, you can now move on to the edge or the corners. You have your cross, so you might get some cases where you already have a corner already, but now it's just all about just matching because you need to find sizes that's very similar. Since mine is colored, I already know what to do, but I'm going to show you the best way to figure out what size you need, and it's literally just playing around with it. So you kind of want to take the size of this, and you kind of need to think about the next layer or what size comes next. So you want to look around for your mediums. So you can want to see this is a medium size, medium size, medium size, medium size. You do not want to go for the small ones. Those are for your edges. For your corners, since you're doing the big one, the corners are very obviously standing out due to the size. So what you can do is just kind of plug each corner in. Just like that. You just kind of have to know what fits. Because say that if you want to try putting in here, you know how this does not fit properly. So it's literally just kind of playing around with it. Just want to try all the corners, see what works. You can just quickly until you find the right corner that actually fits. You want to continue on doing with the next corners. Kind of see how they're not orientated. The best way to orientate these corners is just doing this. That's the best way to orientate them. Again, since you only have like 2 left, you can kind of understand where this is going because if you look over here, you can, on your bottom layer, you can kind of see how it's getting bigger and bigger, and on this is smaller and smaller. So you can kind of tell that this piece right here has to go to one of these two. See how there's a big empty space right here? You know that this piece is going to go here. But you gotta be careful when you try inserting it because you might end up looking at it like this. It's the same thing, you just kind of have to keep messing with it, orientating it until it fits properly in, just like that. Now, the best way to tell where is your white is basically just looking at it, because this part is just black and you have your top, the side, and the front. Already you can tell this is your white, so that's how you can easily kind of detect that. Now for the second layer, this is where things start getting a little bit harder. So it's all about just moving around. Now the super tiny pieces, if you kind of look up, like these pieces, won't really matter to you. So you want to continue on looking for the medium-sized pieces, like these, like I said earlier. You have about 4 of them. You have 1 here, 2 here. So 1, 2. This one is a medium size, but it's harder to detect. And this one is kind of more obvious. But the best way to tell is just not how long it is, but how thicker it is, how much thicker it will be. You see how this is around this thickness, while this one's just thicker? That's how you can tell that this goes in one of here, one of these slots. They can be shorter, but they can be thicker, so that's how you can tell your edges. So already I know that this does not fit here, because look at the difference of thickness between this and this. So already I can tell that it will most likely either go into either this spot or this spot. So the best way to tell is just kind of play around with it. So you want to kind of just kick it out. So you want to turn your cube up like this. You just kind of want to kick it out. No, it's the wrong way. I guess that's how you do it, but I would love to use CFOP, but I can't. This would be too quick. So now that you kind of kicked out that thick piece right here, you can now try to figure out where it's going to go. In this case, you can actually pair up your corner with your edge, but you have to be very careful because it may not be orientated properly. The best way to tell is just kind of put it in a position where you took it out. If you do it like this, you see how it's not orientated properly. So what you want to do is just kind of want to push this to the side like this, and you just want to hide. You just want to hide the corner. And that's how you know it's gonna be aligned. The best way to also tell is because they're also in the same position as well. You see how these are just laying flat, unlike these pieces that's just pointing up. That's how you know you gotta hide that corner and insert this. It's basically the same thing with the rest of the corners and edges. Like say you find this medium piece right here. It's a little bit thicker than this. I always get these two confused all the time when I had a normal 3x3 mirror. But that alone can tell you that this piece has to go here because this is too small for that piece. You can kind of tell. So now, the moment you can just turn this, make sure the best way I learned is to kind of keep your finger on the piece you're working with. Keep it there and take out this piece. Now, the best way, now you see how one's laying laying flat while the other one's up? You can either one of two possible cases where you can just insert it like this, because this is flat, so you know that's correct. Or if you run into a case versus completely standing up, pushing up, pointing up. Now the best way to kind of tell is you want to take the edge you're working with and try to align it to one of these centers. You see how they're not going to fit properly until you reach the correct center. Now, you may get confused on which corner you're at, so you just kind of want to mess around with it. So either you take this side, try to insert it, that works, or if you try doing this side, you know that doesn't work, so you can always try the other side. That's how you know that that pair works. And again, if you're confused on where this is supposed to go, just look at the shapes below, and then you can easily tell where to put it. And then for the final corner, you can try to figure out where it is, but you always gotta, actually no, it's one more corner, okay. It's another one. So for this one, since this is one of the biggest pieces, I recommend you try to save one of the biggest pieces for last. This is more of an easier situation because now you kind of know where it needs to go. Same thing is laying flat, one's pointing up. And then finally, to figure out which one is your missing edge, you just kind of have to look up which one's shorter and which one's thicker. And after looking around, this is the thickest piece out of all of this. So that's how you know that this is your edge that you've been missing. Do not try to use any of these because these are thinner. So what you want to do is just kind of want to push this over to the side, take this corner out, push it again. And now, you've noticed how they're both laying flat. Remember to just kind of turn. Remember you have a free slot. Turn the cube around and just kind of want to hide the corner and just pair them up. Now I will say, if you want to understand how the mirror 3x3 works, get this version. It's a lot easier to understand, so when you get the real version, you can kind of understand it better. Now, first you want to get all of these pieces flat, like these. So the best way to tell is to remember your OOL and POL. You notice how you have an arrow right here, so you treat this as how you would normally. Then you have your cross. Now, depending on what you have, you might have one of two cases. Either you have both headlights pointing out like this, or two headlights and then one to the side like this, and the other one to the side facing like away. Now, watch very carefully. This is basically almost, I call this the double headlights, but this is almost like the type of soon type of method. It's very similar. So watch. Now, if you did that correctly, then you should have the flat surface, but you might get different cases, but they're very noticeable cases. But if you already have this flatness already, if all the parts are flat, wonderful, great job. But for different cases that are more like this is where things start getting a little bit tricky, because this is the fish right here. This is your fish. Now, the best way to tell is kind of, if this is facing towards you, this is your soon. So what you want to do is kind of, but if that doesn't work, then it's your anti-soon. You get many different cases, but you see how you're back to your cross. This is kind of like your fish. So knowing what I have, the corner's kind of pointing out. This is this. So this is kind of where you gotta start playing around with it. At this point, you gotta try whatever algorithm works. This will take a while. And then keep going until you get whatever case that you know that you can do, like these, like this case, for example. Now, moving on to PLL, you might already have a H-perm like this, but if you know, but the best way I'm going to explain to you, we're not going to get to this yet. If you have any headlights, you want to keep turning the top layer until it fits perfectly in place to the rest. But if you don't have any headlights at all, like say it just doesn't fit at all, then you just kind of want to mess around with it. You just want to do the algorithm. See, this is the case where you have no headlights. So you just want to do the algorithm. Until you have headlights. So you might only have after one case of headlights. This is almost all of it. So we're just going to do with the one with one headlights. You just want to do this move. See how you have headlights? I just did it to show you, but that's how you do it. And then you reach your PLL. Now in this case, you might either get either a UA or UB, or a H or Z. This right here, this is a Z. So just go this fella right here. That solves it. Now for your UA and UB perm, I recommend you just do this algorithm right here that I'm showing you. It will solve both cases no matter what. So you always want to, so if you have you have a solved side but the rest are not finished, put the solved side in the back, and then the way to figure this out, since this is just going to be a normal one, you want to flip this around, see if one of the edges will fit perfectly. See how this one doesn't and this one does? So overall, you want to just do this. Fits perfectly. Push this middle up, turn this twice, push this middle down, then you fix it, then you solve it. And if you know your H-perm, that's pretty self-explanatory, but I hope that this helps you figure out how to solve a mirror cube. Even though mine's in color, hopefully I explained to the best of my ability to do it with the color. Well, you have the normal one. If you have the color one, well, good job for you. You can just solve it without this tutorial. But I hope this helps you out. Please subscribe.